Tell me more about the boardroom and your boardroom journey. I see a few titles that you have. So what's that journey like?
So many senior executives that I meet, and even more junior people, keep asking me, how do I get a board role? And I don't know that that's the right question. The right question is, why do you want a board role? Now, for me, it's a question of at some point in time, I'm not going to have a full-time job anymore. But I'm also not the kind of person that want to slow down and do nothing. So for
Uh,
me, taking on board roles is about giving back. And it's about having a working board role where, yes, you've got your nose in and your fingers out because it's governance, right? It's not management, and you have to be very appreciative of the difference. But I've always looked for places where I could follow my heart in terms of things that were meaningful to spend time on, but also feel that the 30 years of experience that I have is actually a meaningful contribution. So how do you get one? Well, one of three ways. You know people. That's how most board seats are actually filled. You get really lucky and just accidentally it falls into your lap. Or you get really, really good at networking and being known. Right? So being a known entity. Interestingly, both of mine actually came via a executive search firm. So I didn't get them via my networks, and part of it is I'm an immigrant, so actually still building networks on the U.S. side of the Atlantic, but both of mine came via executive search firms, and I think the trick to actually ending up being the right candidate for the role begins with where I started, knowing why it is that this is something that you would really, really like to do, being clear in your own mind, being able to express clearly why you think this is something you want to do. And also what you bring to the table. I mean, your job as a board member is to govern, but also to help the company that you're on the board for. So if you take the two I have, one is a not-for-profit where the board is actually run in a very professional fashion. So it's an elderly living organization that operates communities where it's all about figuring out how can you age gracefully in place as you get more and more needs from a healthcare perspective. And that's meaningful because we've all seen the people in our own families get to that point. We're going to get to that point ourselves at some point. And gee, I would actually prefer for people to have the choice that you can stay in the same community and you can have different levels of care. So when that opportunity came around, it was meaningful to me. And the other one is a startup. And look, I worked in some large organizations. Why a startup? Because there's some problems out there that need grassroots innovation. And this is one of those where what this company Curate does is to use AI to help improve clinical trial match. Why is that a problem? Because the state of the art is I give a description of the clinical trial to a bunch of physicians, and maybe I get lucky that I find patients that meet the criteria. If you're a pharmaceutical company, or if you're a group of physicians that think that this is good treatment, just finding the right patients to prove it is actually hard. So if you can help with that, that's meaningful. So I think in the boardroom, you have to be clear on why you want it, how you can help, but also the distinction between management and governance.